I'm back.
Okay, let's proceed, right? So basically, we're talking about the architectures, right? So what we discussed we have two types of architectures. We have something called as physical architecture,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have something called as logical architecture, right? Let's
Okay.
talk about the physical architecture first. So in physical architecture, at the very top, we have got something called as regions. So in total, we have got 60 plus regions, and
Mm-hmm.
they are providing services across more than 140 plus countries, right?
Okay.
The names of some regions are East US,
Mm-hmm.
West US, UK South, South India, and so on. See,
Mm-hmm.
what is a region? We discussed that Microsoft has deployed data centers across the globe. Everywhere they have deployed data centers, right?
Yeah.
So when Microsoft will be deploying data center, see, first of all, they will decide in which particular country they would like to deploy data center.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Microsoft decided they would like to deploy some data centers in India.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will be deciding in which city in India they would like to deploy data center. Let's say they decided we would like to deploy some data center in Mumbai. There is a city in India called as Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
Then within Mumbai, Microsoft will be buying a piece of land or will be taking a piece of land on lease. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say nearby Mumbai airport, Microsoft has purchased a piece of land where they will be setting up the data center.
Mm-hmm.
So that physical land, that physical location, that geographical location where Microsoft will be deploying data center is what they refer it as region.
Okay.
So region is nothing but the physical or the geographical location where Microsoft is deploying data center.
Okay.
And in every region, Microsoft deploy minimum two data center. So there will be minimum two or more than two data center. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And data C region is nothing but group of data centers which are in close proximity with each other. They are
Okay.
close to each other. Just like we have buildings in business parks close to each other,
Mm-hmm.
50 meters away, 100 meters away, 200 meters away. So just
Mm-hmm.
like this, we will have data centers close to each other.
Okay.
Right? It is quite possible in one country they may have multiple regions. For example, if we talk about India, there are four regions. If we talk about US, there are multiple regions because there is a huge requirement. So there
Mm-hmm.
is East US, West US, East US 2, West US 2, South Central US, and so on. So there are multiple regions.
And East US will also have two locations.
East US will also have two location means.
I mean, at one plus one setup, like say for East US region, it will be like one plus one setup or like just single physical location.
We'll talk about it. There are two types of regions. See, right now we are discussing what is a region.
Okay.
In couple of minutes, we will discuss that region can be of two types.
Okay.
In one region, it can only be one physical location.
Mm-hmm.
In a second type of a region, the region will comprise of three different physical locations.
Okay.
So maybe in 10 minutes, your doubt will be cleared
Okay.
automatically. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, in it's quite possible in one country there can be multiple regions.
Mm-hmm.
It is also possible for multiple countries there can be a single region. It entirely depends upon the requirement, how big the requirement is on those
Mm-hmm.
specific regions, right?
Okay.
After regions, we have something called as availability zones. Right? So here we have something called as availability zones.
Mm-hmm.
We need to remember 3 points regarding this availability zone. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Point number one, all the regions do not contain availability zone. Out
Okay.
of 60 plus region, approximately half the regions you can say, or approximately 33 to 34 regions contains availability zone. So all
Okay.
the regions do not contain availability zone. Now
Mm-hmm.
the question that comes is, how do we identify which region contain availability zone and which region do not contain availability zone? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sharing you a link. See, if we simply go to internet, if we just type Azure regions with
Yeah.
availability zone, so here we would be able to get a URL as well. Let's say if I scroll down, so it says Azure regions with availability zone support.
Mm-hmm.
So here, this is the URL I'm sharing as well
It's
in
okay. It's okay. Just a Google. Mm-hmm.
chat. So basically, see if we simply go here. So this is here. They have mentioned the names of the regions which contains a variability zone, right? So
Okay.
any region which is mentioned in this particular list contains availability
Mm-hmm.
zone. Any region which is not mentioned in this list do not contain availability zone, right?
Okay.
That is point number one. Point number two, any region that contain availability zone will have three availability zones. Means whatever region is mentioned in this list contains three availability zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take an example of East US. Let's say if East US is the region which contains availability zone, within East US there will be three availability zone. Zone number one,
Mm-hmm.
zone number two, and zone number three. So any
Mm-hmm.
region that contains availability zone will have three zones. Three zone means in three different physical locations, Microsoft has deployed data centers. So inside every
Okay.
zone, minimum there will be one data center and maximum there can be multiple.
Okay.
Inside every zone, minimum there will be one and maximum there can be multiple. And
Mm-hmm.
these availability zones, they are at a distance of around 10 to 15 miles. They are 10 to 15 miles away from each other. Point is,
Okay.
in three different physical locations, which are 10 to 15 miles away from each other, Microsoft has deployed data centers and now they are calling it as one region,
Okay.
right? So there are two statements. In one region, minimum there will be two and maximum there can be multiple data centers. In one availability zone, minimum there will be one and maximum there can be multiple data centers, right?
Okay.
Point number three,
Sorry. You said like in any region we'll have two data centers
minimum
and
there will be two and maximum there can be multiple.
okay, but availability will have minimum three.
Availability will have minimum three means
So regions and availability zones. In regions you said something in the last line like minimum two. Where will have minimum two?
any region will have minimum two data center and maximum multiple.
Okay. So any region will have minimum two. So say East, West, UK, South, they will all have two data centers.
Minimum there will be two.
And they will be like at same location or like 15 kilometers apart, 15 miles apart, you said.
Okay. See, there are two types of regions now. Now you can bifurcate the regions into two categories.
Hmm.
Category number one, region without availability zone.
Hmm.
Region without availability zone. Any region which is without availability zone, it means Microsoft has deployed data centers in one physical location. So there is a physical location and Microsoft has deployed two, three, four, whatever number of data centers they have deployed. All those data centers are at one physical location.
Okay.
Second category of a region, region with availability zone. Any
Hmm.
region which is with availability zone, there will be three zones.
Okay.
In every zone, there will be one data center, but now there are three different physical locations where Microsoft has deployed data centers.
Okay.
Hope you got the
Understood.
category. Hope you got
Yeah.
the clarity.
Yeah, understood.
So point number three for the availability zone, what can we achieve with the help of availability zone? So we can achieve better redundancy with the help of availability zone. How do we achieve better redundancy? I'll explain this to you in few minutes
Mhm.
in detail, probably tomorrow
Okay.
or in the next session, right? But
Yeah.
I'll give you a gist how do we achieve better redundancy with the help of availability zone. For now, just remember this point that we can achieve
Mhm.
better redundancy with the help of availability zone.
Okay.
So again, for availability zone, we need to remember 3 points. Point number one, all the regions do not contain availability zone. Out of
Mhm.
60 plus region, approximately 33 to 34 region contains availability zone.
Mhm.
Point two, any region that contain availability zone will have three zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. And in every
Mhm.
zone, minimum there will be one, maximum there can be multiple data centers.
Mhm.
Point three, what is the benefit of availability zone? We may achieve better redundancy with the help of availability zone,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
After availability zone, then we have something called as data centers. As we already discussed, in
Mhm.
every region, minimum there will be two, and
Mhm.
maximum there can be multiple data centers. And after data centers, we have something called as racks.
Mhm.
Racks are the actual places where the resources will be hosted. So
Mhm.
whenever we use a word resources, we are trying to say VM, VNet, database, firewall. All these are considered as resources, right?
Okay.
So I'm sure you would have seen data center, but let's see if I just type here data center
Yeah,
image.
it's okay.
All right, not
Yeah,
required.
I work every day on data center. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So basically, see, this is how the physical architecture of the Azure will look like.
Okay,
Any
understood.
questions, any queries so far?
No, we are good.
All right. Now, let me explain you. Let me give you a gist that how do we achieve better redundancy with the help of availability zone. So as we discussed maybe 2 minutes ago, now we can broadly classify the region into two categories. So we can say region without
Availability.
availability zone and region with availability zone, right? Let's talk
Yeah.
about region without availability zone first. So let's say in India,
Mm-hmm.
in Bangalore, Microsoft has purchased a piece of land, let's say nearby Bangalore airport, right? Nearby
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore airport, Microsoft has purchased a piece of land and they're setting up a region here, which is without availability zone. Without
Mm-hmm.
availability zone means on the same piece of land,
Yeah.
Microsoft is setting up
OTC.
multiple data centers, right?
Minimum two.
Minimum to maximum multiple. Let's say they have set up three data
Mm-hmm.
centers. Let's say in DC1, they have deployed VM1 where application 1 is running. In DC2, they have deployed VM2, same application is running. VM3, where same application is running, right? Now, let's say due to some big power failure or due to some natural disaster, if
Mm-hmm.
the Bangalore airport location goes down,
Yeah.
right? So would we be able to access the application,
No, nothing will have nothing in backup. Yeah.
right? So if Bangalore airport location will be down, all three DCs will be down, all
Yeah.
three machines will be down, and eventually the application will be down. So basically, we can say that we are not getting any redundancy. We are
Mm-hmm.
not getting any redundancy, right?
Yeah.
Second is we have region with availability zone.
Mm-hmm.
So any region which is with availability zone, we already know there will be three zones, right? So
Yeah.
let's say,
So
yeah, let's say this time in India, in Mumbai, Microsoft is setting up a region which is with availability zone. So there will be zone one.
yeah. So basically, physical redundancy we are providing. So
Yeah,
everything, power supply, everything will be redundant.
yeah. So let's say in Mumbai airport, DC1, VM1, application one. Zone 2, let's say nearby Mumbai Zoo,
Mm.
VM2, application 1, and Zone 3, let's say Mumbai Railway Station, DC3, VM3, and application 1, right?
Mm.
So now let's say due to some given reason, if the Mumbai airport location goes down, right? If this part goes down due to some big power failure, due to some natural disaster, would we be able to access the application? Yes. So we can access the application from there.
Yes.
So we are getting better redundancy.
So
One
what is
more
the
point. Yeah,
yeah?
yeah, please go ahead.
So what application if application is using a database? So database will also be on the three location, three zones.
For any storage solution, there are different method of redundancy. We'll talk about this as well, or I'll explain you in detail as well. See,
Mm-hmm.
let's say if we are deploying a database, for database, this is the method of redundancy we have for the virtual machines.
Mm-hmm.
For database, or there is a service called as storage account, right? So we have different method of redundancy. So here we have a concept of LRS, ZRS, GRS, RAGRS,
Mm-hmm.
GZRS, RAGZRS. So basically, it stands for locally redundant storage, zone
Mm-hmm.
redundant storage, geo redundant storage,
Yeah.
read access geo redundant storage. So there is a different method to achieve it. So in the upcoming sessions, I'll explain you this,
Okay.
right? In the upcoming session, see how do we achieve redundancy for the database, or how do we achieve redundancy for the storage account. In the upcoming sessions, we'll explain you this part as well. So
Okay.
slowly and
So for
gradually
the
we'll.
app VM, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So in the app VM, all the three VMs will be replicated continuously.
We are not replicating the machines here.
No, in the app one, not the database. The app, like zone one, zone two, zone three. We have like three VMs and app is running on three. So are we using all three together, or at a time one we use and other two are backup?
No, no, no. Say they are active. All three are active. All three are up and running.
Okay.
It's up to you. Let's say you only want to go with two. It's
Mm-hmm.
not mandatory we go with three. Let's say I would like to deploy VM1 in zone 1 and VM2 in zone 2.
Mm-hmm.
Why I'm doing this? For the redundancy. If VM1 goes down, VM1 would be handle all the traffic.
Okay.
So we are discussing right now, we are discussing a scenario which is active. Both the
Mm-hmm.
machines are up and running. Let's say half traffic is being distributed to both the machines. In
Mm-hmm.
an event, if one machine is down, all the traffic will be distributed to the second machine. So this is
Okay.
active scenario. Now if you want to create a DR site, we can do it as well. That will be active
Mm-hmm.
passive. But if we go with active passive, there will be downtime.
Mm-hmm.
One is up and running, second is just sitting. When one
Yeah.
goes down, second one will come up, right? So
Yeah. So.
basically it might take some time for the second machine to come to know that okay, one is down,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some sort of a alert will be triggered, some sort of a notification will be sent. Then only the process of starting the machine number two will start. So that will have a downtime. Here we are trying to reduce the downtime. We are trying
Okay.
to get the redundancy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Please go ahead, sir.